Okay everyone, here we are inside of Poser 6, and what I'll be doing today is showing everyone how to do a cloth fit for your dynamic clothing over top of any figure. In this example we'll be using Victoria 4.2. I don't see why that would matter, but so that you know. The clothing set I'm going to be using is Shizuru 2, that's by me. It's available on Renderosity, and I'm using that because it's mine and I know how it works. First, as always, turn off the IK. First thing you do, just like if you checked out the first post I did for dynamic clothing, always turn that off. Thankfully, I've already done that, but for those of you that don't know or that didn't see the post, you just go to Figure, Inverse, Kinematics, turn them off. They're already off, so no big deal. I already did it here. The next thing you want to do is go to Joint Editor and zero your figure, which has already been done here. And the next thing we want to do is we want to apply the morph onto Victoria 4 or your figure that you'd like to fit the clothing to. Your clothing first needs to fit your regular character, of course. So we want Victoria 4 to fit this bodysuit to a slimmer Victoria 4. In fact, I figured since we're doing this tutorial, let's go for an extreme and let's do the emaciated morph. That's one of the morphs plus plus. So this is the regular Victoria 4, and on frame 10, that's the emaciated morph. You've got the whole, like Dawn of the Dead look there. So what I'm going to do is just undo that. Us Poser 6 folks only get one undo. It's very unfair for us. Anyway, I just want to show you on frame 10 what that looks like. I'm going to go ahead and just skip back over to frame number 1 here. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to apply that emaciated morph on frame 1. You're probably wondering why not on frame 10, but I'll show you in a second. Dun, dun, dun. Emaciated 1, enter. Okay, emaciated morph is on frame 1. Again, frame 1, ladies and gentlemen. Go over to your cloth room new simulation. I'm going to type in 10 frames just in case I accidentally hit click simulation, because I only have 10 frames as you can see down here. So I don't want it to just keep going. It'll drive me bonkers. Okay, just click OK. Go to Clothify. A very embarrassing thing for those of us that use Poser to say. Click Clothify. It's going to ask you what you want the outfit that you're doing to collide against. Just go ahead and click Victoria 4. If you know it doesn't converge on the hands or the head or the feet, you can turn all this stuff off and it'll deselect things for you. Because it's a leotard, it fits right up against the skin, so I'm going to go for like a 0.4, a 0.5, maybe even a 0.2 I could, but I'm going to click OK. Now what will happen if I try to animate this right now with a cloth sim? It's not going to work right, but what I'm going to do is go ahead and do that for you and show you what the results are. So I'll do a quick pause, which you will not notice. Okay, so I went ahead and did it. We're on frame number 10 right now. And on frame 10, we've got the cloth having simulated to the figure. Now, of course, all it did was just drop on top of her. And it just looks like a nice, good old Doritos bag dropped over someone's body. See, that's all it does. It just falls right on there. That's pathetic. That's not what we want at all. So, what we do is erase the simulation. That's this right here, clear. It'll pop back up there. Go back to frame number 1. And what we're going to do is we're going to go into simulation settings right here. You can click cloth self-collision. It's a case by case whether or not you need to turn this on or not. For what I'm doing, I don't need it, so I'm going to say 5 frames, 5 drape frames. And since the figure is thinner, what I do is just kind of rotate around the side here so that I can see how the leotard is fitting the figure. Depending on your eyeball to computer visual seeing this, you might need to zoom in here. You'll like my technical terms. It's one of those Corinthianscori originals. Okay, scale this thing to where it fits relatively on her. It doesn't have to be perfect. Squish it as you see fit. You don't want to do a universal scale unless you're, I don't know, I guess you really have like a plastic sack as an outfit, which you could. I mean, fashion people wear that. And unfortunately, high fashion models have hips like this. Oh, so very lovely. There's nothing as sexy as the living dead. But you know, for anybody willing to listen, the reason why a lot of clothing designers pick these really skinny, uh, barely there models is because when they put their clothes on them, the clothes don't stretch. You know, they don't have a large bust, they don't have a large backside, large hips, large anything. Everything is skinny, you know, like a 10-year-old boy. And the reason why they like that is because it doesn't stretch anything. The outfit looks the way they sketched it out on a sheet of paper or their napkin or whatever they have sketched it on. So when the model comes out wearing it, all you see is the outfit. And, you know, unless you're into zombies, you're not looking at the model. You're like, ugh, gross, she looks like she hasn't eaten in a week. And she knows she looks like she hasn't eaten in a week because she's thinking about eating you. That's why they don't let you backstage. They got the models in cages. Rah! Alright, so I went ahead and did some scaling here. That's fine. So I'm going to shut this thing off. What I'm going to do is go to simulation settings. You remember where I put the 5 frames in here? All this is going to do is try to fit the clothing around the model. So check this out. I'm going to go ahead and click calculate drape. And then we just sit here and watch and see if my really old computer can handle recording a video and calculating this at the same time, because normally it can't. Anyway, what it's trying to do here is trying to push the clothing around the model, you know, like from the inside out, like that movie Aliens. Rah! It bursts out of your chest. Okay, check it out. So now the clothing has fitted, whatever. Anyway, it's around the model. So as you can see, we've got a new cloth fit. So if you would make this clothing dynamic or otherwise, and then you wanted to give it away or sell it, then you can say, hey, I legitimately have a fit for the emaciated morph. Yay! And even though that took like, what, 15 seconds? You could sell it to people and charge more. And they'll be like, oh my gosh, you did all the fits for me. Whatever, it took like, what, 15 seconds. Anyway, some people don't want to do it, and they'll pay for it. That's the country that we live in America. Go USA! I love our country. Okay, so what we're going to do is we want to save this as a morph inside this outfit. So let me show you. This is the leotard. There's no morphs. There's no morphs in this thing at all. Because I think at this point when I was making this, I didn't add morphs in there for anyone because, you know, why? It takes a couple. I just showed you how to do it. You know, it takes a couple seconds. But we're going to put some morphs in here for your sake. Now, don't save anything. Click your leotard, make sure you have the leotard selected, or your whatever your prop is that you're using as a dynamic cloth. Export it. And blah, 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 blah. If it's parented, it's going to be somewhere inside of the Victoria 4 hierarchy. And we wait for Corinthians, very slow computer. Okay, so this is emaciated. Try to spell this stuff correctly, because if you don't spell it right, maybe someone will send you horrible mail. I can't believe that people actually spend time sending hate mail that you misspelled stuff. Oh my gosh, you misspelled emaciated. You spelled it with like an A, like you're from France or something. I couldn't find it. It was under emaciated instead of emaciated. Why? Okay, once you've done this, you can go ahead and actually clear the simulation out. I'll bring that back up in a second. Clear the simulation. And what we'll then be doing is setting this thing back to where it was. So, actually, you know what? It's faster just to do it this way. Just restore. I don't feel like pressing all these buttons. Oh, my computer's too slow to handle it. Never mind, I'll do it myself. See, what you guys might not see is that while this is happening, my computer is blinking, and every half a second I can't use my computer. Okay, so anyway, there's the morph of Victoria 4, and there's the non-morph version of this leotard. What we'll now be doing is adding in that morph that we just made. So what we do is we go to Properties, Load Morph Target. You can do it from here, or you can go to Object, Load Morph Target, whichever one. Don't use that Spawn Morph Target. Go to Load Morph Target, find your morph, emaciated, click OK. Now, it will not activate automatically. You just made this thing, okay? So, morph, emaciated. There it is. So now you would just press number 1. Boom. Ta-da! Thank you, baby. Yes, all done. So, easy. So that's how you fit. It also works, same thing works if you were going to do a morph for a gigantic person that was like, I don't know, looks like they came out of Resident Evil and they're like a half a mutant, half a human. I don't know, half a kumquat, whatever. This works the same for everything. The bottom line, the main thing you want to remember is don't run a simulation while you're trying to do a fit. Unless you're doing some weird thing where you need the cloth to be falling all off the person. And then it's, I don't know, that's all you. You can, write in and ask a question. But most of the time, if you're just doing a fit for a human character, you don't need any of that. And again, we only stayed on frame 1 in this whole thing. We didn't go to frame 10 except for the example that it gave, so you should be fine. Outside of that, I think we're all set. Okay, I'll go over one last thing before I finish this video, and that's how to actually get this morph to work. What you'll notice if you're working with dynamic clothing, if there's a morph in the clothing, and you morph the clothing and then run the simulation is going to handle the morph like 3 times more powerful than it needs to be. The clothing is going to turn inside out and look all funky and weird. So, learn by me. So the first thing we're going to do is turn off what we did earlier. No calculate drapes this time. We've got the morph in the clothing. Double click clothing. Turn your morph on. Where is it? Emaciated. 1. And again, we're on the first frame. Victoria 4 has been morphed in the first frame. Why would you want to do this? I don't know. But let's just say you do. There's a billion reasons why. I just don't know them. And I fully admit that, which is why I asked you. Why would you want to do that? Okay, go to frame number 10 or wherever your last frame happens to be. My computer has decided to stop responding for a second. So, I'm going to pause this thing and I'll be right back with you. Okay, so, through the magic of editing, I'm back. So, once you've got everything set up, go ahead and click your simulate button, or calculate simulation. On frame 10, I added one of Iron Man 13's really good poses from her pose set she's got. If you haven't picked up any of her pose sets, the pinup pose set that she makes, awesome, really good. Highly recommend that one. Available in the Renderosity Marketplace. So, I'll try to stick a link in here for that. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and run the simulation, but I'm going to pause the video, so... Okay, so here she is, all posed up. As you can see, the outfit has actually gone inside of her body cavity. And what we need to do then, to get the outfit out of her, is to go back to frame number 1. This is your first frame. Find your outfit somewhere inside of her, or wherever your model happens to have sent it. What you're going to do is go to your morph and turn it off. Strange, huh? Said turn it off. 0. Okay, that did it. And go back to frame number 10 or wherever your last frame is. Same scenario, but I actually had made a extra keyframe here. I really shouldn't have, but that was my mistake. Anyway, there it is. Ta-da! All set.